Hi, I am Patricia Lee, and you are watching the My True Sense telecast. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
YoHits.com with Monica Savvy in the morning, Slim Goody in the afternoon with the best in hip-hop and R&B, and the Night Cruiser from 6 p.m. to midnight. It's YoHits.com.
We're back, and I'm here with our guest today, none other than the elegant mother, Elaine Turner. Elaine Turner is a longtime mother in the struggle right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Her family has done so much. And a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, there was a marker released on Main Street,
right,
in your family's honor, because I believe arrested more than how many times? You were
close to 20 times, I guess.
Okay, for back in the more so movement days during the Dr. King's tenure here and so forth. But Dr. Turner is over Slave Haven, also Heritage Tours, and she's getting ready to do the W.C. Handy Awards. So we want her to tell us more about herself today and what's coming up. And I'd like, if you would, to begin with your years and when you taught school also.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that was some years ago.
Okay.
But so that's a long stretch there.
That's a long stretch. Okay.
Yeah, because I did teach school about 15 years.
Oh, okay.
After I finished Lemoyne College.
Okay.
Taught high school English, and so I enjoyed that, and I taught mostly in other states, but I did teach in Shelby County schools out in Millington and Germantown.
Okay, I didn't know.
And so those were some of my teaching days. But I did resign from teaching like about 40 years ago.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that's a long stretch back.
Yeah, that is, okay.
But since that time, I did start Heritage Tours along with my sister Joan, who has since passed. But we started Heritage Tours, which is an African-American heritage tour of Memphis, focusing on the rich cultural heritage of our history. We happen to be the first African-American owned tour company in the state of Tennessee. So we thought that was a need for that.
Yes.
That visitors, Memphians, all should know about African-American history.
That's right.
Because we've made so many contributions to this city but it was being overlooked.
Right.
And we thought it was necessary to showcase that history, and we decided to do it in the form of tours. So we started that tour company back in 1983.
Okay.
So mainly for the children, because we thought that they really needed to know the history. They weren't being taught it in school.
That's right.
But very soon we found that most people don't know this history.
Adults as well. Right.
And so we realized our market was just open as far as who was interested in the tours. The students did need to learn the history. African Americans needed to learn the history. And anybody who wants to search for truth in history were interested, because we didn't find this in our school books, you see.
Right.
It was thought not important.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was conveniently omitted.
Right.
So we searched that history and we developed the tours as a result of that. So we've been, excuse me, I knew that was going. We've been doing that now for 36 years.
Wow.
And in the meantime, doing that, this 36 years, we have, we took over the management of the W.C. Handy Museum on Beale Street.
Wait a minute. Before you go to W.C. Handy, I want to interject. You heard her say Heritage Tours. It's right here in Memphis, Tennessee. And so what I would like to petition all to do is to please, when you get ready to do your family reunions and your wonderful trips, to book, make sure Heritage Tours is on your itinerary, okay? Okay? Do that. And she'll be sharing the phone number. Give it to us now.
Yeah, the phone number for Heritage Tours is 901 527-3427.
All right, and we'll be right back.
My True Sense, Volume 2, Miss Patricia Lee. Get yours today at lulu.com.
I'm the coordinator of the First Monday Poetry Group of Kirby Pines Retirement Community in Memphis, Tennessee. Over the last year, it's been my joy to watch my friend Patricia
Author, teacher, philosopher, humanitarian. My True Sense. Get yours today.
This is like an open.
Get your phone repaired, serviced, and connected at the Cell Phone Doctor. Great low prices. The Cell Phone Doctor, 662-606-0008. Android, iPhone, LG, and Samsung. You break it, we fix it. The Cell Phone Doctor. 358 State Line Road, South Haven, Mississippi. The Cell Phone Doctor.
We're back with Dr. Elaine Turner. Thank you so much for tuning in. Dr. Turner, now you were about to tell us about W.C. Handy coming up very soon.
Yes, so we manage the W.C. Handy Memphis Home and Museum,
Okay.
and it is located on Beale Street. We've been managing the W.C. Handy Museum now for 24 years. W.C. Handy, of course, is an integral part of the history of Memphis. He was known as the father of the blues. So we wanted to, in addition to managing the museum, we also wanted to celebrate Handy and celebrate his birthday. His birthday is November 16th.
Okay.
And at that time, no one was celebrating W.C. Handy's birthday in the city of Memphis. So we decided to do that. So we do that each year. This will be our 23rd year.
Okay.
For the W.C. Handy Heritage Awards. We also honor other authentic Beale Street musicians. Those musicians in Memphis who have kept the tradition of the music alive since the days of W.C. Handy. Many of them have not been recognized for their gifts, their talents. Many of them have gone on to other places all over this country, all over the world, but their roots are on Beale Street. So we thought it was important to recognize them, to honor them. And so far, over the last 23 years, we've honored about 250
Wow, that's
of
awesome.
those authentic Beale Street musicians.
Yes.
And many of them have never received any kind of award at all. And so they are just so humbled that they have been made a part of this. And so this is just a highlight of our year, to have this celebration for W.C. Handy and to honor these well-deserved, talented musicians and entertainers. And there are just so many. We know that.
Yes.
And we're trying to get around to all of them.
Yes, thank y'all so much for doing that. That is very applaudable. And tell us where will it take place?
This year, the W.C. Handy Heritage Awards will take place at the Holiday Inn Airport on Democrat Road. It will be at 5:30 in the afternoon. That's a Sunday.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Tell me what's going to be happening at the Old Daisy. Is there something happening at the Old Daisy?
That's the awards
on
November 17th.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The day before, on W.C. Handy's actual birthday, November 16th. Well, we're going to have W.C. Handy Day. That's his birthday. So we're going to have a parade in grand style on Beale Street.
Oh, wow.
We will also be showing a documentary called Mr. Handy's Blues, a musical documentary. This documentary was just released within the last year. Some of it was filmed in Memphis, some of it filmed in other places, New York, where he went later on. But it tells his life. It is the first documentary that was actually made on W.C. Handy. We're going to be showing it at the Old Daisy, and it is free.
Okay, great.
For anybody who wants to come.
And that's going to happen on the 17th.
That would be, this is on the 16th.
That's
The
on the 16th,
parade
okay,
is on
and
Beale Street
the documentary,
at
okay,
11:30 a.m.
okay.
At 1 o'clock, just go right into the Old Daisy Theater
Oh, wonderful.
for the viewing of the documentary Mr. Handy's Blues.
Okay.
Yes, so, and then there'll be a book signing later on. One of the honorees is a famous jazz musician from Memphis whose name was Jamil Nasser. He played mainly after he left Memphis in New York. He played with people like Ahmad Jamal, Count Basie. You know, Memphis just has so many talented musicians. But his son has written a book about him.
Oh, okay.
And so he would have a book signing later that afternoon.
Good.
So come down to Beale Street and enjoy W.C. Handy Day. And while you're doing it, if you have never been inside the W.C. Handy Museum, this is your opportunity to go.
Yes,
There's
please.
a little house sitting right there on the corner of Beale and 4th Street.
Yes.
W.C. Handy's Memphis home.
All right. Hallelujah. Okay, we'll be right back.
I'm E.C. White. Get the best blues in Memphis every Saturday morning on the Hard Luck Blues Show, and listen to your local artists on Yo Hit Radio.
The Egg King Cafe. Come in, take a seat. Hot coffee, eggs, bacon, and whatever you like, the Egg King can cook it for you. Get your morning started with the Egg King, 4458 Elvis Presley Boulevard, Memphis, Tennessee. Give them a call at 901-249-3690. Order every morning.
Hi, we're back with Mother Elaine Turner. Before Miss Turner leaves us today, I would behoove me not to let her tell us something about Slave Haven right here in our very own Memphis, Tennessee also. So if you would tell us how long you've been over that facility and a little bit about what it shares with us.
Yeah, so the Slave Haven Underground Railroad Museum is a real treasure here in Memphis. It is a house that served as a safe house on the Underground Railroad. We found out about the history of this house back in 1991, and it was not a museum at the time, but the owner wanted it to be a museum. So she engaged us to help her to develop it into a museum. So that's been another pride of Heritage Tours, to be able to develop this museum. And it's open on a full scale, 6 days a week. And people come to Slave Haven Underground Railroad Museum from all over the world.
Yes.
Jacob Burkle was the owner, and he helped slaves to hide in his house. And so we tell the story of Jacob Burkle. We tell the story of the enslaved Africans who hid there, and the story of the Underground Railroad, and how it was a mechanism, a network to freedom. And people get a real history lesson in that guided tour, which is only about 45 minutes to an hour, but they really get a good dose of history, of African American history, of slavery, of the Underground Railroad, and the real genius of African Americans who were enslaved, and how they used that genius to free themselves and develop all kinds of codes and messages, thereby being able to free themselves from slavery.
Yeah, wow.
So it's an intriguing location, and anybody in Memphis who's not been there, it's time to go there.
It's time to go. That's
Yes.
right. You can put that on your itinerary too.
Yeah, so anyway, it is, we do have people from a lot of schools do go there, not enough.
Right.
When teachers and principals bring their school children here from, say, Colorado or California or wherever they're from, and they always ask us, do all of the Memphis City school students come to this location? And sadly, we have to tell them no. And they can't understand why. because they are coming from all across the country and they want to see this museum and they are just overwhelmed by it. And for this to be right here in Memphis and the students are not being brought there, they just think it's really a tragedy.
It is. It is. And on that note, I'd like to petition you all, especially PTA reps, whoever has anything to do with the system, to please, by all means necessary, this is a place that our children need to know about, should know about. We need to treasure home first. Know what's in our own backyards. And I'd like to encourage everyone to take a heritage tour, because when you go on this tour, you're going to see so many things in Memphis that they're going to show you that you probably don't pay attention to just riding. Just like, for example, when I went on the first tour, I probably didn't know where Church Park was or know anything about Robert R. Church. Mm-hmm. But they tell you all of that, and we need to keep this history alive and share it with our children today so that they may continue to share it with their children and children's children's children. And the only way to get that done is we got to do it. So we thank you, Mother, so much for opening that outlet and making it happen and allowing all of us to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
Thank you. Would you like to give us some telephone numbers, Facebook information, something?
Yes. Now, in particular, as far as Heritage Tours, our phone number is 901-527-3427. Website, heritagetoursinmemphis.com. If you want to email us, we are heritagetours@bellsouth.net. If you want to buy tickets, and we hope you do, to the W.C. Handy Heritage Awards, you can contact us at any of those contact information, and you will be able to purchase tickets. There is dinner, there's live entertainment, it's a black tie fair. Awesome. It will be wonderful. Yes. Our theme for this year is Memphis Bicentennial celebrates blues, jazz, and soul.
Yes.
So this is the bicentennial year.
Wow.
And we must celebrate our history,
yes,
celebrate our music, as well as W.C. Handy.
That's right. Father of the blues.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Miss Turner. We love you. Thank you for being with us on today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to the My True Sense telecast. See you next time.
My True Sense, Volume 2, Miss Patricia Lee. Get yours today at lulu.com.
I'm the coordinator of the First Monday Poetry Group of Kirby Pines Retirement Community in Memphis, Tennessee. Over the last year, it's been my joy to watch my friend Patricia
Author, teacher, philosopher, humanitarian. My True Sense. Get yours today.
This is like an open.
YoHits.com. Master the music business. Be a member. Get your music played on Yo Hits Radio. If you want your music played, build your fan base. You are the boss. You control what you sell. Be the new Yo Hits subscriber and be a fan for your new artists. Can help you with your publishing, marketing, and promotions on your new CD. You are the record label. We can help sell and provide you with an outlet for your music to your public. Join us and get your app for the new Yo Hits. Tell everyone about the new YoHits.com. Keep you informed on the who is who in the industry. That's right, YoHits.com. Be a member. Join us.
We're back with our guest, none other than Dr. Chet Kibble, whom I must say I was so elated to come into his acquaintance probably a little over 4 or 5 years ago now. I believe first met him at a CORE meeting, CORE, Commission on Religion and Racism, held by Dr. Isaac Richmond. And he has just been a wonderful spearheader and advocate in the community, focusing on lead and how it affects us and and what it has done to many people, plus the buildings and plus the water pipes and all of that good stuff. He's a former MLGW work employee, and now he is environmentalist. And so I would just like for you to share with us something today that you have been doing on your journey so far in that area.
All right. Well, thank you. And I really appreciate being here. And I appreciate your patience because a lot of people have been waiting for us to get to this point. We've been working directly with the EPA since 2008. We realized that we had a serious problem, and that because I had worked at Light, Gas, and Water, and I resigned in 1999, I was over in the water cross-connection representative. I knew how serious our problem was. And so working with EPA, our main goal was to do research and to really understand our problem. We were fortunate enough to get with Lemoyne, and Lemoyne agreed to open up the Environmental Research and Training Center, which Minister Yahweh was a key person working with me over there. And we had training. We also did lead training. Robert Lifkin left Lemoyne and went to the city of Memphis, Housing and Community Development. And when he did that, Robert knew very well how serious our problem was. So he took samples. He got the health department to agree to let him take samples, 150 samples over at Lemoyne Gardens. Well, Robert tested 50, and he stopped. The lady from the health department, Debbie Wire, she called me because she was concerned that the city wasn't testing more of the kids in that area. And she called me about it and explained to me what was going on. And after she told me that they hadn't given them money, they had just gave them the okay to test it, and then she told me who was over it, I knew there was a reason. And so Robert did test 50 kids at Lemoyne Garden, and he stopped. He did go later and test 50 at Hearst Village and at Lamar Terrace. Now, I don't know if you remember when we got the Hope 6 grants. Memphis was one of the only cities that got 3 Hope 6 grants. And each one of those grants was worth about $60 million. Where they tear the units down and redo them. And the reason for that is those kids tested. Back then, the lead level for lead poisoning was 10 micrograms. Those kids were tested between 20 and 40 micrograms. Now, it's important to understand lead only stays in your blood for 8 weeks, but it stays in your body for over 30 years. Okay, so Robert knew when he did that test, because we had sat and talked and he was pretty educated, that he didn't really need to test more of them in Hearst Village. He spread it around and test all 3. And it really came to Memphis's advantage to that extent that we got those places torn down and the kids got moved around. Now, what didn't happen is that all the people who should have been tested wasn't tested, and our research continued. So after Robert moved, Lemoyne decided they didn't want to continue with the research, and so I set it up on my own, and I set up the Memphis and Shelby County Lead Safe Collaborative. We started working directly with EPA and Environmental Justice, and I was fortunate enough to be in the training. They had a training program that they invited me to be a part of. It was called the Environmental Justice Academy, where we went to school for 9 months, 1 weekend out of a month, and we met a lot of people. We met people who had opened up the Cancer Alley. I don't know if you ever heard of Cancer Alley. It was in Alabama. It was an area where Alabama back in the day would tell all the chemical companies, come on down, come on down, come on down. Set up over here. And on the other side of the fence was a black community. And 2 professors had families in that area. And what puzzled them was that why so many people in their family and their community had cancer. And so they started researching it. And they were the godmother and the godfather of environmental justice. Okay? And this was designed specifically for communities, minority communities, poor communities, who wound up getting the bulk of environmental hazards. Okay? So getting back to what we found out about our lead when we got with EPA and we did this research, we tried to become experts in what lead exposure was.
Okay, for some that may not know, give us, what does EPA stand for?
Environmental Protection Agency.
Protection.
All right, environmental protection. And then you have environmental justice, okay? One of the things I like to say about them is that the movie Hidden Figures, it talks about black women who did a lot in the NASA program. I don't know if you saw it or not. I considered the women at EPA to be hidden figures. They understood what might be facing communities with the new president that was coming in. And so they wanted the communities to have somebody in the community who understood environmental hazards, how to get things done, and they gave us some unique training. And so that's kind of where.
Well, let me interject.
Yes.
Because I believe that that academy that you attended for, you came out the head of the class.
Yeah,
Right?
I was a salutatorian.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and then we had another member from Memphis that went, a young guy, Brian. He went to the next class, and he was actually the head of the class.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So Memphis is, yeah. We represented Memphis pretty well.
That's what we talking about, the best. Always come out of Memphis, Tennessee. We'll be right back.
Okay. Now.
It's Yo Hits Radio, the internet radio station from YoHits.com. Listen to your local and regional artists. Sign up Apple Store and Google Play. Get your app. We play the best in the desktop party. Listen and win. It's YoHits.com and Yo Hits Radio. Subscribe online today. It's YoHits.com.
We're back, and thank you for tuning in today with our guest, Dr. Chet Kibble. And we would like for him to, let's wrap the show up by leaving some valuable information with us, how we can get in touch with him, or what we can do as the community to help in the process.
Okay, well, one of the things I want to say what the community can do is that our city has been fortunate enough to get another grant. We got a $6 million grant, and what that is for houses built before 1978. They can get work done on the houses where they'll get new windows, new double insulated windows. If there's lead paint on the outside of the house, it'll either be covered with vinyl siding or stabilized. But they will make the house lead safe, and at the end of the project, they will do a dust wipe inside the house to make sure the house has no lead dust in it. Okay, and this will be done free of cost. There will be no charge. That number for the city, the plant, it hadn't started just yet, but let's give them a call, 576-7300. Ask for the lead department.
901 area code.
Yes, ma'am. And our group is the Memphis and Shelby County Lead Safe Collaborative. We have a website, which is gettheleadoutmemphis.org, gettheleadoutmemphis.org. We also have a website, gettheleadoutmemphis@gmail.com. We're going to be putting up a lot of literature, and if you want to get involved and know more about what's going on, we're going to start having community meetings. I would love to come to a church or to someone's house and do a presentation. One of the things that we've been doing over the last 10 years is that a lot of people, and Patricia's been knowing me for a long time, a lot of people knew what was going on, and I was reluctant to do too much in the community because we were trying to work on having some solutions in place before we talk about how bad everything was. And our goal was to be a city that could demonstrate to other cities how you can handle the problem. So as I said, we started talking about lead in the water before Flint. We started talking about it in 2006. We got with EPA in 2008. So we've been working on the problem and trying to come up with ways, and we have some unique things in mind. Job creation. We've already trained some people to be master home environmentalists, where we've been going through doing inspections. One of the things I want to do next week, if you'll get me some names and some numbers of anybody that stays, especially in North Memphis, there's some special effort going in that area. I'll do a free home assessment where we'll come by and see if it tests for lead. We have a machine. We also have a machine now that will test for lead in the water. So we would like for people to call us. If you have water discolored and your water seems to look like it has a problem, if you'll call us, we'll come and do a test. So you can get in touch with us. We also have a phone number. It's 609-901-609-4538. You can call and leave us a message and we'll get back with you. Okay, again, that's gettheleadoutmemphis.org. We will be putting up our letters and stuff on our website. We are, as we say, about to come out. We're making some demands on the city. We want the city to implement a water filter program. We want to see more testing. We want to see things going on at the school. One of the things that our school is not doing is, and I'll come back and we'll talk about it, it's called IDEA, Individual Disability Education Act. That means a child that has lead poisoning has brain damage, and that child should have a disability. And that way teachers don't get graded down when the students don't do well. And that was one of the problems in Memphis. We have a lot of failing schools because we have communities where every child in that community should have been classified as lead poison. Our health department can tell you 90% of the kids they test in Memphis have lead in their body. And I haven't been able to find a city that has that higher percentage. But I give the health department credit. They test in the troubled areas. They don't go to Cordova and Collierville and different areas where we know they got new housing, and so the results will be different. But y'all also brought up a question about people who don't live in those areas, but you used to. Then you could have a body burden. So when we talk about tests that you can do when you go to the doctor, there's a test called ZPP, zinc polyporphin. That'll tell you if you've been exposed. All right. There's a lead level test that'll tell you if you have lead in your body. But one of the things about lead only stays in the blood for 8 weeks, but it stays in the body for over 30 years. And it's been proven that lead can be passed down through the generations. So there's something that I have always believed, that we had people in our community that had generational exposure. Okay, and they also found out the damage that happens can be permanent. So when you develop high blood pressure, and people say it's hereditary, okay, that could be something that's passed down from the parents. When we talk about the new science that just came out that shows that kids that get exposed to 1 microgram can lose 7 to 8 IQ points. So the thing that we've been calling lead poisoning, we only call it based at 5. That's because they base it on what they can afford to pay. And the health department now are what we call lead poison is based on what the city can pay, not on what harms our people. And that's the thing that we've got to talk about and we've got to take a stand on. And I am so glad that you gave me a chance to come. And I've been wanting to get this out for a while. But I've been trying to work with EPA and do what they asked me to do. And we've been trying to do everything tactful. We had lots of meetings. We'll share those letters with our organization, with people from the group. So please consider becoming a part of the organization and help us deal with this issue. And if you've ever had a child that was lead poisoned, you need to tell the school. They can't find out unless you tell them. And then you need to ask that the child be put in IDEA, Individual Disability Education Act. That's what we've got to do, and that's going to help the teachers, that's going to help the child, and that puts them in a different category. All right? Because one of the things that we get judged by is that when you don't have a good memory, then you're not very smart. But if lead has damaged your brain, and it does damage the brain, those are things that we got to accept. And I'm going to say that I know I need to wrap up. But the movie that was done is called Get the Lead Out. It's called Lead's Secret Epidemic. It was done by a white female, upper class. They bought a house for $180,000. The kids got lead poison. But the guy's working, and she became an advocate. And so she set up her organization. It's called Lead is the Secret Epidemic. And she did a movie. But in the movie, it showed her son and talked about his difficulties. But at the end of the movie, he looked in the camera and he said, well, you know, my mom and them explained to me why I have difficulty remembering stuff and different things. But with their help, I'm going to overcome this thing that's happening with lead. And I'm not going to let it get me down. You can see his confidence because he knew why he couldn't remember well. Okay, so it wasn't he was stupid, he was damaged. Our people don't know it.
Right.
All right.
Right, thank you so much for sharing on today. And just throw another little tidbit out if you're concerned about your water and you maybe get a filter or maybe use Alkaline water, or don't forget about our wonderful Zuma products, XOOMA. And be mindful of your diets. And we love you. Thank you. See you next time on the MyTrueSenseMemphis.com telecast. And remember to listen to Yo Hits for wonderful music. YO-HITS.com.
Cut. Thank you.